Gather around, adventurers, for an enchanting exploration of the 2024 Player's Handbook. A treasure chest brimming with the mechanics of the greatest role-playing game. Follow my voice as I read the unfurling of possibilities so that you can breathe life into your tabletop game. Today I am continuing part 4, page 23. Combat. Adventurers encounter many dangerous monsters and nefarious villains. In those moments, combat often breaks out. The order of combat. A typical combat encounter is a clash between two sides. A flurry of weapon swings, feints, parries, footwork, and spell casting. The game organizes combat into a cycle of rounds and turns. A round represents about 6 seconds in the game world. During a round, each participant in a battle takes a turn. The order of turns is determined in the beginning of combat when everyone rolls initiative. Once everyone has taken a turn, the fight continues to the next round if neither side is defeated. Combat step by step. Combat unfolds in these steps. Number 1, establish positions. The dungeon master determines whether all characters and monsters are located, given the adventurer's marching order or their stated positions in a room or location. The DM figures out where the adversaries are, how far away, and in what direction. Number 2, roll initiative. Everyone involved in the combat rolls initiative, determining order of the combatant's turn. Number 3, take turns. Each participant in battle takes a turn in initiative order. When everyone involved in the combat has had a turn, the round ends. Repeat this step until the fighting stops. Initiative. Initiative determines the order of turns during the combat. When combat starts, every participant rolls initiative. They make a dexterity check that determines their place in the initiative order. The DM rolls for the monsters. For a group of identical creatures, the DM makes a single roll, for each member of the group has the same initiative. Surprise! If a combatant is surprised by combat starting, that combat has disadvantage on their initiative roll. For example, if an ambusher starts combat while hidden from a foe who is unaware that combat is starting, that foe is surprised. Initiative order. A combatant's check total is called their initiative count, or initiative for short. The DM ranks the combatants from highest to lowest initiative. This is the order in which they act during each round. The initiative order remains the same from round to round. Ties. If a tie occurs, the DM decides the order amongst the tied monsters, and the players decide the order amongst tied characters. The DM decides the order if the tie is between a monster and a player character. Got it? Good. Your turn. On your turn, you can move a distance up to your speed and take one action. You decide whether to move first or take your action first. The main actions you can take are listed in actions earlier in this chapter. A character's features and a monster stat block also provide action opportunities. Movement and position. Later in this chapter gives rules for movement and position. Communicating. You can communicate however you are able through brief utterances and gestures as you take your turn. Doing so uses neither your action or your move. Extended communication, such as detailed explanation of something or an attempt to persuade a foe, requires an action. The influence action is the main way you want to try to influence a monster. Interacting with things. You can interact with one object or feature of the environment for free during either your move or action. For example, you could open a door during your move as you stride towards a foe. If you want to interact with a second object, you need to take a utilization action. Some magic items and other special objects always require an action to use, as stated in their descriptions. The DM might require you to use an action for any of these activities when it needs special care or when it's presented an unusual obstacle. For instance, the DM might require you to take a utilization action to open a stuck door or turn a crank to lower a drawbridge. Doing nothing during your turn. You can forego movement, take an action, or doing anything at all on your turn. If you can't decide what to do, consider taking the defensive dodge action or ready an action to delay acting. Ending combat. Combat ends when one side or the other is defeated, which can mean the creatures are killed or knocked out or have surrendered or fled. Combat can also end when both sides agree to end it. Movement and position. On your turn, you can move a distance equal to your speed or less. Or you can decide to not move. Your movement can include climbing, crawling, jumping, and swimming, each explained in the rules glossary. These different modes of movement can be combined to your regular movement, or they can constitute your entire move. However, you're moving with your speed. You deduct the speed of each part of your move from it until it's used up, or until you're done moving, whichever comes first. The character's speed is determined during the character's creation. A monster's speed is noted in the monster stat block. See the rules glossary for more about speed as well as special speeds, such as climb speed, fly speed, or swim speed. Difficult terrain. Combatants are often slowed down by difficult terrain. Low furniture, rubble, undergrowth, steep stairs, snow, and shallow bogs are examples of difficult terrain. Playing on a grid. If you play using a square grid, and miniatures or other tokens follow these rules. Squares. Each square represents 5 feet. Speed. Rather than moving foot by foot, move square by square on the grid using your speed in 5-foot segments. You can translate your speed into squares by dividing it by 5. For example, a speed of 30 feet translates into 6 squares. If you use a grid often, consider writing your speed into squares on your character sheet. Entering squares. To enter a square, you must have movement left to pay for entering. It costs 1 square of movement to enter into an unoccupied square that's adjacent to your space, octagonally or diagonally adjacent. A square of difficult terrain costs 2 squares to enter. Other effects might make a square cost even more. That was difficult terrains, by the way. Corners. Diagonal movement can't cross the corner of a wall or a large tree or other terrain feature that fills its space. Ranges. You determine the range of a grid between 2 things, whether the creature or the objects. Count squares from a square adjacent to one of them and stop counting it in the space of the other one. Count by the shortest route. All right, that was box text, by the way. Every foot of movement in difficult terrain costs 1 extra foot, even if multiple things in the space count as difficult terrain. Breaking up your movement. You can break up your movement using some of its movement before and after an action. Bonus actions or reaction if you take the same turn. For example, if you have a speed of 30, you can go to 10 feet, take an action, then go 20 feet. dropping prone. On your turn, you can give yourself the prone condition, see the rules in the glossary, without using an action or any of your speed, but you can't do it if your speed is 0. Creature size. A creature belongs to a size category, which determines the width of the square the creature occupies on a map, as shown in the creature size and space table. That table lists sizes from the smallest tiny to the largest gargantuan. The creature's space is the area that it effectively controls in combat and the area it needs to fight effectively. A creature's size is determined by species, and a monster size is specified in the monsters chat block. Creature size and space. Okay, so we have tiny, and your space is 2.5 by 2.5 feet per square. Small, 5 by 5 feet, 1 square. Medium, 5 by 5, 1 square. Large is 10 by 10, 4 squares, 2 by 2. Huge is 15 feet by 15 feet, 9 squares, 3 by 3. Gargantuan is 20 by 20 feet, that is 16, 4 by 4. Moving around other creatures. During your move, you can pass through the space of an ally. A creature that has the incapacitated condition, see the rules glossary, a tiny creature, or a creature that is 2 sizes larger or smaller than you. Other creature spaces is difficult terrain for you unless a creature is tiny or your ally. You can't willingly end a move in a space occupied by another creature. If you somehow then you turn in the space with another creature, you have the prone condition, see rules glossary, unless you are tiny or of a large size other than that creature. This is all very interesting. When you take an attack action, you make an attack. Well, yeah. Some other actions, bonus actions, and reactions also let you make an attack. Whether you strike with a melee weapon, fire a ranged weapon, or make an attack roll as part of a spell, an attack has the following structure. Number 1, choose a target. Pick a target within your attack range, a creature, an object, or location. Number 2, determine modifiers. The DM determines whether the target has cover, see the next section, and whether you have advantage or disadvantage against the target. In addition, spells, special abilities, and other effects can apply penalties or bonuses to your attack roll. Number 3, resolve the attack. Make the attack roll as detailed earlier in this chapter. On a hit, you roll damage, unless the particular attack has rules that specifies otherwise. Some attacks cause special effects in addition or instead of damage. Cover. Very important. Cover is walls, trees, creatures, and other obstacles that can provide cover, making the target more difficult to harm. As detailed in the cover table, there are 3 degrees of cover, each of which gives a different benefit to the target. A target can benefit from cover only when an attack or other effect originates on the opposite side of the cover. If the target is behind multiple sources of, this next page, page 24 to page 25, let me get there. Cover only the most protective degree of cover applies. The degrees aren't added together. For example, if the target is behind a creature that gives half cover and a tree trunk that gives 3/4 cover, the target has 3/4 cover. Got it? Box text, unseen, attackers, and targets. When you make an attack roll against a target you can't see, You have disadvantage on the roll. This is true whether you are guessing at the target's location or targeting a creature you can hear but not see. If the target isn't in the location you targeted, you miss. When the creature can't see you, you have advantage on the attack rolls against it. If you are hidden, you make an attack roll. You give away your location when the attack hits or misses. Great. Cover. Degree. Half. +2 bonus to AC and dexterity saving throws. Another creature or object that covers at least half of the target. That is the qualifications, by the way. 3/4. You have +5 bonus to AC and dexterity saving throws. An object that covers at least 3/4 of the target. Total. Can't be targeted directly. An object that covers the whole target. Ranged attacks. When you make a ranged attack, you fire a bow, hurl an axe, or otherwise send projectiles to strike a foe at distance. Many spells also involve making ranged attacks. Range. You can make ranged attacks only against targets within a specific range. If a ranged attack, such as one made with a spell, has a single range, you can't attack a target beyond that range. Some ranged attacks, such as those made with a longbow, have 2 ranges. The smaller number is the normal range, and the larger number is the long range. Your attack roll has disadvantage when you target beyond the normal range, and you can't attack a target beyond long range. Ranged attacks in close combat. Aiming a ranged weapon is the most difficult when a foe is next to you. You have a ranged attack roll with a weapon, a spell, or other means. You have disadvantage on the roll if it's within 5 feet of an enemy you can see and doesn't have an incapacitated condition. See Rules Glossary. Melee attacks. A melee attack allows you to attack a target within your reach. A melee attack typically uses a handheld weapon or an unarmed strike. Many monsters make melee attacks with claws, teeth, and other bodily parts. A few spells also involve melee attacks. Reach. A creature has 5-foot reach and can thus attack targets within 5 feet when making melee attacks. Certain creatures have melee attacks with a reach of greater than 5 feet, as noted in their description. Opportunity attacks. Combatants watch for enemies to drop their guard. If you move heedlessly past your foes, you put yourself in danger of provoking opportunity attacks. Avoiding opportunity attacks. You can avoid an opportunity attack by taking the disengage action. You also don't provoke opportunity attacks when you teleport or when you move without using your movement, action, bonus action, or reaction. For example, you don't provoke an opportunity attack if an explosion hurls you out of a foe's reach, or if you fall past an enemy. Making an opportunity attack. You make an opportunity attack when a creature that you can see leaves your reach. To make the attack, take a reaction to make one melee attack with a weapon or an unarmed strike against that creature. The attack occurs right before it leaves your reach. Mounted combat. A willing creature that is at least one size larger than a rider and that has an appropriate anatomy to serve as a mount using the following rules. Mounting and dismounting. During your move, you can mount a creature that is within 5 feet of you or dismount. Doing so costs an amount of movement equal to half your speed, round down. For example, if your speed is 30 feet, your speed is 15 of movement to mount a horse. Controlling a mount. You can control a mount only if it has been trained to accept a rider. Domesticated horses, mules, and similar creatures have such training. The initiative of a controlled mount changes to match yours when you mount it. It moves on your turn and you direct it. And it only has 3 action options during that turn: dash, disengage, and dodge. A controlled mount can move and act on the turn that you mount it. The control mount can move and act even on the turn that you mount it. Okay. In contrast, an independent mount, one that lets you ride but ignores your command, retains its place in the initiative order and moves and acts as it likes. I hope you enjoyed that bit. Like, subscribe, and it's 21 minutes, so we're going to stop right there. See you next time. Bye.